guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and just wanted to tell a couple quick stories in regards to buying my most recent purchase, the Wii U. Most recent, I guess, bigger purchase, I should say. So, obviously everyone online, all my friends on Facebook and YouTube, kind of were, divided in terms of, should you buy one? Most of my friends said, yeah, it's a great system. You're missing out on some really good games. It's kind of going to be like the Sega Saturn or Dreamcast of this generation. And so far, I'd probably say I agree with them. The few games I've played, I have probably a dozen. Maybe I've played a little more than half of them to a degree. One of them I beat. Have been really, really fun and really enjoyable. I feel like it's got this simplicity to it pretty much that a lot of games lack, where it's just simple and fun and as intricate as you want it to be, and great for multiplayer usually. So that's always a plus with my girlfriend and I. So I'm going back and forth in my head for a week or so, trying to get this camera to get a little bit of a better shot here, but it's not really working. I'm going back and forth in my head like a week or so. Should I buy one? Should I not buy one? My buddy Brian, one of my closest friends, loans me his for the weekend. I'm playing some games. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence. We messed around with like Mario Kart and Donkey Kong and a couple others. So I give him back his Wii U, and then I make my decision. I say, you know what? I'm going to get one. I want one. I've seen enough. I've played some games, whatever. This is after flip-flopping for a while, after hearing everyone's opinions. People who own them, people who don't own them, people who had them. Like my buddy Israel, he had one, he loved it. After a while, he was upset by the releases not really coming out, and he got rid of it. Funny enough with him, he had gotten games for it that he never even opened or played. So like, I had showed the Wonderful 101 off, that I'd picked that up in one of my previous videos. He was like so hyped up about that, he bought it, never played it, and just sold it when he sold his Wii U, which I always found kind of funny when, you buy things and you end up not really using them, which has happened to me before too with certain games. So, my buddy Brian's brother Matt has a Wii U, doesn't play it, says he wants to get rid of it. His price is a touch higher than I want to spend because it's just the system. I think he said he might have a game, so or two at most, but I think I wasn't even sure about that. He wasn't 100%. So I figured, all right, it's a friend's brother who's also my friend. That's not a bad thing. Let me talk to him. So I write to him. He's kind of getting back to me in spurts. Says he's gonna check it out and look into it. That he wants to, like, I don't know, make sure it works or whatever else, whatever the case may be. Okay. In the meantime, my buddy Travis, Retro Gaming Alliance, writes to me and says, dude, my buddy just gave me a Wii U. You gotta pick this one up. He told me he'd sell it. I said, okay, well, what is he looking for? Matthew, Brian's brother, wanted $200. I think he said he had one or two games. I'm not sure which ones. It's probably Nintendo Land and like Mario World 3D or whatever. Travis said he wants $140, my friend. Actually, $150. No games, but Wind Waker, I think, is installed on the system. So I'm not a big digital guy, but I said, you know what, that's cool. So I'm like, all right, let me see now. Let me weigh which one I should go with. Like, I don't know. I kind of want to get a lot. At this point, I'm finding lots on eBay. The two best ones I found, or three best ones, actually. One was $195 with 3 Pro controllers and 5 games, and I started talking to the guy, asking him about, what kind of condition it was in, etc., and he even says to me he'll go $10 lower. So I'm kind of like, this is like when I'm sort of on the fence still, before I had made my mind up. He sells it, because of course, $195 for a system with 5 games and 4 extra control, it's a good deal. So someone jumped on it, and rightfully so. So I'm like, damn it. So then I'm online again, and I'm showing my girlfriend some of the auctions I'm looking at or whatnot, and I come across one that has, let me think here. It's like kind of a Skylanders set, like it's Wii U with a bunch of Skylanders shit, which I'm really not into. That's not my bag at all. Anything with collecting extra crap isn't really for me. Sometimes I'll get a couple little things, but in terms of like, I want to collect everything for this thing besides the Sega CD. I don't really do that. So it had a bunch of Skylanders stuff, like 2 or 3 games I really wanted, one being Yoshi's Woolly World, like 3 or 4 extra controllers, a bunch of stuff, and it was, I think, $215. And I'm like, alright, this is a good deal. So I go to buy it, I'm thinking about it, I show my friend Brian, because he's a big video game guy too. Boom, somebody buys it. I'm like, motherfucker. So now I'm getting pissed off, because now it's like, are you serious? Like, and I'm kind of waiting also on the side note. I'm waiting on a side note for Travis or Matt to get back to me and let me know what's going on with the other one, so I can make my decision, sort of. So I have all these things jumping around in my head. In the meantime, I'm sure I found another one that was a good deal, and you know, I let slip, which kept happening to me. I kept finding these really good ones. What the fuck, man? Why does this keep falling? So, all that happens. Hopefully the phone doesn't fall again. All that happens and whatever. Now I'm getting kind of pissed off. Matthew writes back to me and says, oh, hey, man, I actually bought that Wii U for my wife, and she said she doesn't want to get rid of it. I asked her if she's played it, and she said she hasn't played it in years. So she turned it on, played it for 15 minutes, and said, no, I want it, and shut it off. So I'm sorry, I can't get rid of it. So now I'm like, okay, that's understandable. I get it, you know. She sort of wants it still or whatever. And it wasn't really his to sell. He got it for her. I get it. So then Travis writes back to me like a couple hours later, and he goes, hey, man, my buddy gave me that Wii U. He gave it to me flat out. And he's moving or something. I forget what he said. And I'll sell it to you for $140. So I'm like, oh, $10 cheaper. Okay. So I'm like, okay, let me, you know, think about it, check it out. I said, let me know if it works, everything's okay with it. I'm telling you, man, it's in great shape, this and that. I said, okay. The next day, he writes to me and he goes, I'm really sorry, man, I can't sell you the Wii U. And I just missed one of these auctions that was, like, really good. So I was kind of like, it's okay, I missed it because Travis is going to come through. I'm sorry, man, the gamepad's messed up. It's, like, freezing and acting really weird. Like, oh, man. So now, not only have I missed, like, 3 or 4 really good auctions, like, you know, in the $200 range with, like, a bunch of games and, like, controllers and shit. Now, Matthew couldn't come through, and Travis, you know, told me the one he had wasn't working right. Like, damn. So that happens. I'm getting kind of frustrated. I find one on eBay that's $250 to bid with $300 or $350. I think it was $300. Buy it now, and I'm not spending $300. No way. On a dying system. So I write to the guy, I start talking to him. He's not budging. And mind you, most people on eBay are pretty friendly, where you say, hey man, can you do any better? And they'll say, oh yeah, I'll take $10 off. Most people do that. You'd be surprised. I mean, I probably shouldn't have, because in certain cases I was talking with them and they were giving me a deal, and then before I went to go buy it, someone else bought it. So that was, you know, I shouldn't have hesitated. So I'm talking to this guy, he's like not budging, he's kind of rude, saying to me like, well, I really want $300. I'm not going to $250. You know, $250 is my opening bid. I don't want $250. Okay. So would you take $275? And it's got I think 3 or 4 games and like 3 pro controllers and a classic controller, I think, and did it have a Wiimote? It might have. I think it did. So a bunch of stuff, you know. And I'm like, okay. Would you take $275? He writes back to me, I'll think about it. You know, if I don't get any bids and it's the same price by like tomorrow before the auction ends, I'll shut the auction down and I'll sell it to you for $275. Okay. The next day comes, I look at the auction, no one's bidding on it. It's still at $250 with no bids. And I'm thinking, you know what, I could drop a bid on this thing, but let me wait and see if he writes something to me. You know, if I throw a bid on it, someone will probably act stupid and outbid me, whatever. Like, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to fall at this point. So, I kind of, like, lose interest in the auction. He doesn't get back to me. I let it go. So then, I find one on eBay for $208. The system, 2 games that I wanted, and a Wiimote. So, not the best deal in the world compared to the other ones, because it came with a bunch of extra stuff, some of those. but pretty good. The person's about 30 minutes away from me, which is kind of interesting. And the system comes in after a day of them mailing it out, and it's immaculate. The thing has a couple little marks on it. I mean, it's in great shape. For something that's been years old, you know, that someone was using probably here and there, the gamepad has no scratches. It's in great shape. So would you fucking believe it? Yesterday, I'm training in my garage, because, you know, buying a gym membership is expensive. And I'm training in my garage, and I get a message from eBay. Well, not from eBay, from an eBay seller. And it's that guy. And he goes, hey man, I sold it, but the person's not paying me. If you still want it for $275, I'll do $275. So I'm thinking to myself, you motherfucker, I told you flat out I would give you $275 instantly if you wanted it through my PayPal, because everything was in great shape. You had games I wanted, you had extra controllers. I was trying to work with you, like, and now all of a sudden, because it's good for you, you want to be a dick, like, and not answer me and, like, not get back to me and shit, and now it's good for you, so you want to fucking... So I'm like, what an asshole. So I write back to him, thanks, man, after you didn't get back to me after a day or so, I ended up finding another one, take it easy, or whatever, like, some shit like that. But it's just, like, it's so annoying, and actually, I just remembered one of the other auctions that I had run across, which was pretty good. A guy was in Canada, so everything was in Canadian dollars, which the rate is very weird compared to American when you do the conversion. So you don't really get, it's not like very close. So he wanted some like crazy Canadian number, but it actually wasn't that bad in American. I was trying to work with him on it, and he's like, listen, I go to school, I need money for school, this and that. And he, you know, I said, well, what if I send it to you as a gift via PayPal, which I've done before, but never on big purchases. And he was like, well, if you do it as a gift, I can do this much. And it ended up coming out to be like, I think $225 or $230. Had a few games, had a few controllers. I think it was still missing Pro controllers, but had like classic controllers or Wiimotes or something. And it was a good deal, but now you're shipping something from Canada. I have no repercussions. Or no, you know, nothing protecting me via PayPal, via eBay, anything, because you're paying it as a gift. You're just gifting it to someone. And if something fragile like that is coming from Canada and is getting knocked around between the Canadian Postal Service and the United States Postal Service, you kind of worry, you know, like, is this going to even make it through transit? Am I going to spend like $225 on something that's going to be like fucked up by the time it gets here? So, as I said, I ended up going with one about 30 minutes away that I got for $208 shipped. And overall, I'm very happy with the condition. And I had so much credit at GameStop and things I had to return and things I could trade in that when I got there, I got some of the stuff that I wanted anyway. So had I spent the $275 in cash, yes, it all would have came at once. But in this way, I kind of piecemealed it and still got what I wanted for around the same price. And, you know, used credit primarily at the store. Didn't have to really use cash. So it worked out in the end. But my God, what a weird, arduous kind of journey between all the auctions that I was slipping and letting myself miss, kind of running back and forth in my head, people being idiots on eBay and like not answering or answering and being rude. Like, I've had people say to me, hey man, could you do any better on the price? And you know, sometimes I dropped a couple bucks, or sometimes I've said, you know, I'm really looking for whatever, but thank you for your interest. Like, you know, people forget, like, we're dealing with human interaction and people. If someone comes to you at a garage sale and says, you want $10 for this clock, would you do $5? Are you really going to go, fuck you, I don't want $5? No. You're going to say, you know, I sort of want 10, I'll meet you at 7. And, okay, even if these people on eBay don't want to do that, and they want the full 10 for the clock, have a little courtesy, be a little friendly or polite with these people. It's like, it goes a long way, and people forget that. If you're polite with people most of the time, usually they'll work with you, or they'll even bend a little bit, you know? But even when you go to customer service, like when you return something or do something, if you're polite with people, most of the time you usually get your way. I mean, I'm not trying to be like manipulative here. Wow, that's a fucked up looking light. Usually you get your way, or you could work on it or whatever. But when people get shitty, it's like, doesn't even make you want to work with them anymore. So that was the end of my story. It was just kind of a stupid little journey that I figure I'd put on, video. And in the end, it all worked out. We got a Wii U. The Wii U works great. It's in great condition. Got pretty much all the games I want, minus the couple that I'm hoping to get for Christmas. And, I'll just keep an eye out in the stores for clearances and price drops and thrift store stuff from now on to pick up some extra crap if I ever see it. So that's really it, guys. Thanks for listening to my story about buying a Wii U. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.